The bold and the beautiful September 2025. Luna's obsession erupts. Will's past returns to haunt him. And Electra's romantic night turns into emotional chaos. It was supposed to be a perfect night. Will Spencer and Electra Forrester had just crossed a threshold, finally stepping beyond flirtation and fully into something real. Their chemistry had been building for weeks, and now they were ready to celebrate their first major milestone as a couple. Electra had pulled every string to make it magical candles, wine, a private setup in one of the Forrester guest suites, the kind of night that cements memories and deepens trust. But what Electra didn't know, and what Will had been desperately trying to suppress, is that his mind wasn't entirely in the room with her. Physically, yes. Emotionally, almost. But lurking just behind every glance, behind every touch, was a growing shadow, the memory of a night he couldn't fully remember, and a girl whose name he wasn't even sure of. That night wasn't just a drunken mistake, it was a hole in his memory that's begun to consume him. A hotel, a foggy room, the scent of perfume, long dark hair, a voice calling his name, almost whispering it, and then blackness. He thought he'd moved on. He tried to convince himself it was meaningless, but he couldn't shake it, because Luna Nozawa wasn't letting him. Ever since that night, Luna has believed something different. To her, it wasn't a mistake. It wasn't forgettable. It was fate. A chaotic, beautiful, soul-binding collision between two people meant to find each other, even if just for one night. In Will's mind, it's a regret he once buried. But in Luna's, it's the seed of something undeniable. And every time she sees him with Electra, smiling like he's already found his person, it ignites something dark in her. A need to reclaim that night. A need to make him remember. Sheila Carter saw it coming. She always does. She warned Luna to stop, to leave Will alone, to not mistake one reckless night for some fantasy love story. But with Luna, warnings don't work. In fact, Sheila's warning only fuels her deeper. The more people tell her no, the more determined she becomes to turn that night into something real. And now, she's ready to strike. So when Luna learns that Will and Electra are planning a private celebration in the Forrester guest suite, candles, champagne, everything perfectly laid out, she makes a decision that changes everything. She's going to crash it. And she's going to tell the truth. She shows up unannounced, her eyes locked, her voice calm but shaking with intensity. Will, already on edge from the weight of his unspoken past, freezes when he sees her. Electra is confused at first, trying to piece together who this uninvited girl is and why her boyfriend suddenly looks like he's seen a ghost. But Luna doesn't waste time. She tells Will they need to talk. Alone. Will refuses. He tries to laugh it off, tells Electra it's nothing, just someone from school, a misunderstanding. But Luna won't go. She looks Electra dead in the eyes and says, "You deserve to know who he really gave himself to first." Electra stands slowly, stunned. What is she talking about? And then Luna drops the bomb. She recounts the night in vivid detail. The hotel. The way Will said her name. The things they did. How she woke up alone but knew that it wasn't just a random hookup. She calls it fate. Destiny. A moment the universe created just for them. Will explodes. "I was drunk. I don't even remember your name that night." That wasn't fate, it was a blackout. But Luna doesn't flinch. She says she felt something. That his body remembered even if his mind forgot. She says he's lying to himself because he's scared. That Electra is just the safe choice, the surface-level fantasy. But what they had that night was real. And she's not going to pretend it didn't happen. Electra is shaking now, her voice cold. "Is this true? You slept with her?" Will doesn't deny it. He can't. He tries to explain that it meant nothing, that he didn't even know her name, that he didn't even want to be with anyone that night, it just happened. But those words fall flat. They sound hollow, weak. Electra sees the guilt in his eyes, and suddenly everything she thought they were building starts to fracture. The candles burn. The wine sits untouched. The guest suite turns into a battlefield. Elektra walks past both of them without a word. Luna calls after her, saying she deserves someone honest. But Elektra doesn't look back. She's gone. Will turns to Luna, furious. "You ruined everything, Luna." Tears welling but voice steady, says, "No, I revealed everything. You can lie to yourself, but I won't." That night meant something. You'll see that, eventually, but Will isn't listening. He leaves, slamming the door behind him. And Luna is left alone in the room she turned into a war zone. Her breathing is uneven. She looks around at the bed, at the flowers, at the ruined evening, and she smiles. Not because she's proud, not because she won, but because now the truth is out. And the truth always causes damage. What she doesn't know, what no one notices, that Sheila has been watching. Not physically, but she knew this was coming. And now that Luna has officially destabilized Will and Elektra's relationship, Sheila's gears begin to turn. Because chaos always leaves a vacuum. And Sheila knows exactly how to fill it. Luna walks out of the suite, her face emotionless. But inside, everything is burning. She thinks she's begun her love story. But what she's really begun is her downfall. And Will? He's caught between a woman who truly saw him and walked away and another who refuses to let go of a night he'd do anything to forget. The next morning, everything will be different. Elektra won't answer his calls. Luna will send texts that go unread. And Will Spencer, for the first time, will feel something he's never truly faced before, powerless. Because Luna isn't stopping. Because Elektra won't come back. Because no one, not Sheila, not Steffi, not Lee, not even Thomas Van Fix, what just happened in that room. That suite at the Forrester mansion was supposed to be a sanctuary of love. Instead, it became a war zone of betrayal, obsession, and unwanted truths. And in The Bold and the Beautiful, the real casualties are only just beginning. The Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, explosive tensions, emotional reunions, and a battle for Ridge Forrester. September 2nd episode recap and deep dive on Tuesday, September 2nd. The Bold and the Beautiful delivered a storm of emotional confrontations, long-awaited reunions, and another seismic shift in the ever-shifting power struggle for Ridge Forrester's heart. This wasn't just another day at Forrester Creations or in the Logan Forrester household. This was war. And the battlefield stretched from the executive office to Taylor's private sanctuary to the tense walls of Lee Finnegan's home. Everyone has an agenda, and no one is backing down. The episode begins with Brooke Logan, ever poised and confident, cornering Ridge Forrester in his CEO office. The air between them is thick with unresolved tension and the weight of their shared history. Brooke wastes no time. She demands answers. "When will you make things right?" she asks, her voice a mixture of frustration and vulnerability. She isn't just talking about past regrets. She's talking about the future, at their future. The one that was reignited in Italy when Rich saved her life and seemed, in that moment, to recommit to her. But now, Rich is vague, guarded. There's no clear yes, no firm no. Just that all too familiar tilt of the head, the kind that has left Brooke guessing far too many times before. Is he hesitating because of Taylor? Or is he buying time? Thomas returns to Los Angeles, Taylor's joy and a mother's dream rekindled while Brooke's pressing Ridge for clarity. Thomas Forrester is quietly returning to Los Angeles from Paris. His first stop? A visit to his mother, Taylor Hayes. Their reunion is filled with genuine warmth and long overdue affection. As Thomas steps into Taylor's office, she nearly jumps out of her chair. "Thomas," she cries, and they embrace in a moment of unguarded joy. Taylor is beaming not just because her son is home, but because his return signifies something more, a unified family, possibly led by a rekindled romance between her and Ridge. But Taylor is no fool. She knows exactly what she's up against. As they catch up, she warns Thomas that not everyone is thrilled about her upcoming wedding to Ridge, least of all Eric Forrester, who has thrown his full support behind Brooke. Taylor downplays the threat, insisting that Brooke no longer holds any real sway over Ridge. There's nothing and no one who can come between us, she tells Thomas firmly. But is that confidence based on reality or hope? Lee Finnegan lashes out. Luna's independence ignites family friction elsewhere in Los Angeles. A completely different battle is erupting. Lee Finnegan is downplaying the patient, supportive aunt. She's angry and with reason. Luna Nozawa has been flitting in and out of the house, treating it more like a crash pad than the sanctuary it became when Lee risked everything to protect her. Luna's freedom, her aloofness, it all strikes a nerve. Lee gave up everything: her medical ethics, her peace of mind, and potentially her freedom when she took in Luna and shielded her from the authorities. Now, watching Luna sneak in after yet another night out, Lee's patience snaps. She lays into her niece, unleashing a torrent of pent-up frustration. Where has Luna been? Why is she ignoring the second chance she's been given? And more importantly, is she acting like nothing matters? But Luna doesn't flinch. Since waking from her coma, she's been a woman on her own terms. Her near-death experience has changed her, made her bolder, more selfish, maybe even reckless. And Lee's words, though harsh and possibly just defeat, barely register. Luna isn't the scared girl she once was. And Lee? She may have lost whatever influence she once held. Back at Forester, Brooke makes her move. Thomas issues a warning. The heart of the episode, however, lies at Forester Creations, where the drama goes from simmering to scalding. After her earlier confrontation with Ridge, Brooke remains in the building, refusing to give up on what she sees as rightfully hers. She walks into Ridge's office again, this time more composed, but no less determined. She reminisces about Italy, how Ridge's heroism reminded her of everything they've shared, everything they still could have. "We were meant to be," she says, voice low, intimate. "You know it. I know it," but Ridge remains elusive. And then Thomas arrives. Fresh from his emotional reunion with Taylor, Thomas is now on a mission of his own. And his target, Brooke Logan. He steps into the office to find her alone with Ridge. He doesn't hesitate. "Stay away from my father," he says, his voice sharp. "You had your time. Now it's over." Brooke, never one to be intimidated, fires back. "You don't get to decide who Ridge chooses." But Thomas is unmoved. To him, Brooke is a threat to the family unity and his mother are trying to rebuild. He accuses her of manipulating Ridge, of refusing to let go. "My mother has waited long enough," he says. "Don't ruin this for her." Katie Logan soon joins them, walking in just as tensions are about to explode. She immediately picks up on the icy energy in the room. Brooke doesn't back down. She's not about to let Thomas dictate Ridge's heart, but the damage is done. Ridge is now caught in the middle once again. On one side, the legacy and history he shares with Brooke. On the other, the fresh promise of a new start with Taylor. And both women, along with their children, are pulling him in opposite directions. What's next for Ridge, Brooke, Taylor, and Thomas? As the episode ends, the chessboard is clear. Taylor is emboldened by Thomas's return and convinced nothing will derail her wedding. Brooke is intensifying her campaign, drawing closer to Ridge each day. Thomas has drawn a line in the sand and dared Brooke to cross it. Lee is losing control of Luna, and the fallout of that family fracture may just be starting. But what Ridge chooses to do next is the real question. Will he finally commit to Taylor, choosing the clean slate she offers? Or will his history with Brooke and the undeniable pull they still have drag him back into familiar territory? There's no more room for neutrality. Lines have been drawn. Loyalties are being tested. And in classic bold and the beautiful fashion, hearts are on the line and someone is about to be broken. The episode on September 2nd proves one thing. When it comes to love, family, and power, nothing is ever truly settled in Los Angeles. And with every character now engaged in their own private war, the next moves will be explosive. Stay tuned. The real games are just beginning.